This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so let's see. I might need to lower this a little bit so you can see my floor. There you go. All right, so let's start standing today. I was just mentioning to Allison that it's really cold where I am, very cold. So I need to warm up. So I know you guys are nice and warm, but maybe you're living in air conditioning, so you're not so warm. So we're gonna start standing. We're gonna do a lot of practice from the beginning. So come to the top of your mat. I'm just gonna stand here so I can face towards you for now. But you can come to whichever side, top of your mat. And lift up your toes, open your toes as wide as you can. And then try to put just your big toe and your pinky toe down on the ground. But try to keep the other toes lifted. That's very challenging for some. And then see if you can lower, if you have any more control on your toes, maybe lower the outside, middle, and then index or whatever, pointer toe, whatever you want to call it. So your toes are really wide, right? So you have a really strong, grounded stance. And then come up onto your toes. So you're gonna lift your heels up. And then just notice where your balance is. Notice if you have balance here. If you don't, if you're struggling, you're moving back and forth. Strengthen those ankles a little bit, bring some energy to the ankles. And then lift your arms up so your arms are parallel to the floor. Engage your core, so lift your belly up, right? Your pelvic bone is lifting forward and up. Your tailbone is sort of extending down, down and back. And keep that core strong, and then start to bend your knees. You're gonna come down, slowly down. Allow your hips to sort of adjust back a bit so that your weight is shifting back and your chest is starting to shift forward. You might come all the way down into a squat, maybe, if that's an option. Or maybe just a few inches. And then start to rise back up. Take your time. Keep the heels lifted as you come all the way up. Notice where your weight goes. Maybe forward, maybe back, maybe you're all over the place. And then lift your arms diagonally up, right? So it's like you're moving towards a chair pose. Bend your knees, but your heels are lifted. It's a little bit different than what we usually do in chair. Usually your weight is in your heels. Now it's in your feet. Or sorry, your toes. So lift your heels a little bit higher. Extend your tailbone back and then reach through your fingertips so you have a long line from your fingers to your sitting bones. Lengthen the back of the neck so it's like you're looking in front of your mat and down. Breathe. And then rise up, lift your arms straight up towards the sky. Drop your heels down, bend those knees and fold forward. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins and lift your gaze, lift your tailbone up. Notice how the backs of your legs are feeling in today. And then exhale, release your hands. Again, inhale, hands to shins, lift and lengthen the spine. Lift your sits bones, your tailbones up towards the sky as well. And then exhale, release. And then you're gonna bend your knees, rest your ribs on your lungs, or not your lungs, on your thighs. So you're resting your ribs and lungs on the thighs, and then shift your weight back again, right? So you're shifting your sits bones back instead of forward. Sweep your arms along the ground and up towards chair pose. So now we're in a real chair pose with your hips shifting down and back. So most of the weight is in your heels, and now lift your toes off the ground. Nice, soften the shoulders. Yeah, lengthen the back of the neck. Soften the face, soften the jaw. Deepen a little bit further and then rise up. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your gaze. Exhale, bring your hands to prayer. Connect your thumbs to your heart center. And then lift that chest up into your thumbs. Engage your core. Bring your tailbone forward and up, or really your pelvic bone forward and up. And then soften that tailbone down. Soften your sits bones down. And find your breath. So you're going to extend the arms back up towards the sky. Keep your hands together. Okay? You're going to intertwine your fingers except for the index and thumb. So those will stay straight, but the rest of the fingers are intertwined. And then let your shoulders drop away from your ears. So your arms might be slightly bent, and that's okay. Take an inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. The very top of the head is reaching up towards your hands. And then as you exhale, just stretch over to the left. Squeeze those arms towards each other now, towards your head. Inhale here, breathe. Exhale, deepen a little further, stretch your hips over to the right a little bit. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, gently rise up. Exhale, soften your shoulders away, lengthen through the crown of the head. Inhale. And as you exhale, stretch over to that right side. Your hips will move over to the left. Inhale. Exhale, deepen a little bit further with your hips stretching over to the side. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, rise up. Exhale. Intertwine all of your fingers, right? And pull your core up and in and bring your hands to the back of your head. So you're going to stretch your head down now, just your head though. So your head and your neck, the base of your neck forward, bent towards your chest. And maybe put a little pressure if that feels good with your hands. If that does not feel good, just let the weight of your arms add to the stretch. If it doesn't feel good at all, maybe lift your head up a little bit. Wherever you're at, breathe. And direct the breath to wherever you feel any tightness, any discomfort, any unusual feelings, right? We don't do this very often. And then start to push your head into your hands, and it's almost like a tug of war or a pressure, whichever one wins is going to lift or move down. So you're going to let your head win. You're going to let your head start to lift up into your hands, and then lift your gaze up. Feel your elbows, your heart, your chest opening, lifting towards the ceiling or the sky. Breathe into your armpits, into your chest, into your belly. And then find a neutral spine. So lengthen the back of the neck. Stretch your arms up, inhale. Exhale, open the arms out to the side and fold forward. So it's a swan dive, which means your nose is lots of fold. So it's like you fold through a flat back. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins, lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Feel free to make all kinds of noises. I can't hear you. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Not that I would discourage it if I could hear you. Exhale, fold. And then this time, bring your hands down to the floor, bend your knees, hands down on the ground. And you're going to step the right foot back. So we're in a lunge. We're in a high lunge. I'm going to keep us here. If you need something a little bit cuddler on the body or a little bit softer and kinder to the body, you can always lower that back knee, okay? It's a really nice option. So the back knee, if it's lifted, you're in this lunge here. Come to the tips of the fingers, right? So you're allowing the weight to transition to your feet, both that left front foot and that back right toes. Breathe here, and then just notice where your spine is. Right? So notice if you have long alignments, so your spine is straight and long, or notice if you're curving forward with your head. See if you can root your fingers down, plant your fingers down, and lengthen the back of the neck. So you are long spine. Keep breathing here. And you're going to take that right hand and place it now flat on the ground or a block or a cushion or whatever if you need some support. Again, you can lower that back knee if that feels better. Bring the left hand up on top of the left thigh and start to rotate your torso, your left shoulder up on top of the right. So you're opening your heart. And then maybe lift the left arm towards the sky. Gaze can look up towards that hand if that's comfortable. If it's not, look down towards the right hand and breathe. Squeeze your inner thighs together. So you're really rooting down into your feet as opposed to putting weight on that wrist. Exhale, lower that left hand. And now I'll drop that back knee if you hadn't already, untuck the toes, and then shift your weight back to a half split. So you're gonna walk your hands back. You can be on the tips of fingers as a reminder. You don't want to put weight in your heels of your hands. And instead of sitting all the way back, you're lifting your sits bones back or pressing your sits bones back. So you're not sitting down, right? Flex the foot as much as you can. Right? If your knee is bent, that's okay. Your goal will be to straighten that leg as much as possible. You need to let your foot move a little bit forward. That might help you lengthen the leg. And then lift your heart, lift your gaze, press your chest towards your toes, and then let your head and your neck release down. So you're gonna fold over that left leg as much as possible. It may not be very much. You might have tight legs, especially the backs of the legs, we generally do as humans. And breathe. And then come back to the tips of the fingers, lift your heart, lift your chest up, forward, and then shift your way back to that low lunge. You're going to keep that right hand planted, bring the left hand now to the inside of the left foot, and heel toe your left foot to the outer edge of your mat. And then bring your left hand so it's right next to that left foot. And then shift a little bit further into your lunge. Yogi's choice, the option is to lower it or tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. Again, yogi's choice, you can lower your elbows. That's how open your hips are today. Mine are feeling pretty good today. I'm not sure why. So just breathe here. It's a nice hip opener. It's a deep hip opener. One more breath. And then walk hands back onto your hands and heel toe your foot, your left foot back into the center. Bring that left hand around. Lift that back knee if it's down, and then step or hop that foot forward to meet the left. Inhale, bring your hands to shins, lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold, bend your knees, rest your ribs on the thighs, shift forward and up to chair pose. Exhale, deepen down. Just notice the difference between the left and the right thigh, right? And then extend the gaze up, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Exhale, hands to prayer. And breathe. Notice the difference between the left and right side, if there is. Could be a little bit of a difference. We could just open up that left side. And then release the arms down and up towards the sky. Inhale. Exhale, open the arms, swan dive. So nose is last to pull. Inhale, hands to shins, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold, bend your knees, plant your hands on the earth, step that left foot back. And now we're in that high lunge again. Come to the tips of the fingers, so very little weight is in the hands. And then let your hips start to just play towards sinking down a bit. Opening up the hip, right? So it can always be a little bit of a subtle movement. You don't have to be still all of the time. Root the right toes into the earth, the left toes into the earth. Lengthen the back of the neck. So check in with your spine, right? You want a long spine instead of curving forward or tilting the gaze up. You want to be looking down towards your big toe, rooting down into the toes, both feet. Squeezing your inner thighs together. That will help guide your left hip forward and your right hip back. So your hips are parallel to the front of your mat. And then you're going to take that left hand, plant it down into the earth. Yogi's choice is to drop that back knee if you'd like, anytime. Right hand comes up onto that right thigh. And then you start to roll the right shoulder up on top of the left. Lift the arm up towards the sky. Maybe gaze can look up, look down, wherever's comfortable. And breathe. Try to breathe all the way into that back heel. So what I mean is imagine that your breath can shift down that far into your body. All this oxygen you're bringing into your lungs is fueling your body by extending it down, or the blood bringing it down into your heel. So imagine as if your whole body are your lungs, right? You can breathe deeply, fully. Exhale, lower that right hand. Nice job. Ooh, and then you're gonna bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot and then heel toe your foot to the outer edge of your mat. Slide that right hand so it's along the inner foot, and maybe lower that back knee if that's needed. Maybe not. And then from here, you're gonna just sink a little bit deeper into the lunge and maybe even lower the elbows. This side's a little bit tighter for me today. In fact, I want to put my back knee down. Every side is different and every day is different. Usually my right hip is more open than my left, but not today. And it's okay to do one side different than the other. You just need to listen to your body, right? There's no right or wrong way as long as there's not pain. Discomfort maybe, but pain, not good. So if there's pain, step out of it, come out of it, move into a more comfortable position. Take one more breath. And then come up onto your hands. You're gonna tiptoe that foot back into the center. Lower that back knee if you hadn't already. Untuck the toes, and then you're gonna start to walk your hands back, right? So you're shifting your hips right over that left knee. You're lengthening this right leg. You might need to sort of slide it forward a bit so that you're not sitting back like this, right? And then come just the tips of the fingers, so very little weight is in the hand. Inhale, lift your heart. Press your sits bones back. Your sits bones right beneath your tailbone, right where you sit down, right? Extend that back so you're sort of like you're sticking your butt out and opening the lower back, opening that right hip, and then especially opening the back of the right leg. Inhale here, and then exhale, let your torso drape forward as much as you can. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue, relax your face, your forehead. And then lift your heart, lift your gaze. Come back to the tips of the fingers, walk forward towards your low lunge. Right, back, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then step, hop, jump, however you want to get that foot. Forward to meet the right. Hands to the shins, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. And then keep your legs straight this time. There's always a subtle bend. I don't mean locking the knees. There's always a subtle bend in the knees. And then arms extend out to the side, up to the sky. Lift the heart, lift the gaze. Deep inhale. Exhale, hands to prayer. I'm going to switch over to the top of the mat. So you're going to bend into your legs just a bit and step your right foot back. So you're bending in, let's actually straighten that leg, right? So straighten the front leg, both legs are straight. And then lift your core. Bring your hands to opposite elbows, or if you're really super flexible, maybe inverted prayer. If you're in inverted prayer, you want your palms together the entire time. So if they start to fall apart, come to opposite elbows. Your hips should be facing forward towards the top of your mat. So you don't want to be out like this, right? You want your torso to face towards the top of the mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, lift your core up, lift your belly up. And then come to a flat back. So you're going to look at your left big toe. And then press your left big toe down into the mat. So deep breaths here. And really root that left big toe down. You might find a little bit more of an opening in the back of the leg. Rooting down into the toes, lift the torso. You're going to bend that left knee now. So lift the torso all the way up. Bend the knee. bring the hands, actually let's bring the hands out to the side into like a T. And then we're gonna shift into a balance. So you're gonna come up onto that left leg. Maybe the right toes stay close to the ground. Maybe the toes start to lift up. You're gonna rise towards a warrior 3. If you feel very confident here, strong balance, maybe extend the arms forward. Otherwise, keep the arms out to the side. Maybe even come hands to hips, whatever feels best for you. Breathe here. And then bend back into that left knee. Lower the right leg down to the earth. You might fall, that's okay. Bring the arms up towards the sky, warrior 1. Soften the shoulders down and away from the ears. Root down into that left foot. Press that left big toe into the earth, right heel into the earth. And then you want that knee right over the left ankle. Good. Lift your core, lift your belly. Root the tailbone down. But you'll actually find if you allow that tailbone to extend down, you're going to feel a lift, maybe more of an opening in that right hip. And then soften the shoulders away from each other, right? So you're very gentle, gently lowering the shoulders, kind to your shoulders. And then lengthen that left leg. Hop the right foot forward just a bit. Maybe a little bit there. And then from here, you're going to come forward. Bring your hands down towards the ground. Maybe you can touch the ground. If you don't touch the ground, that's okay. You're going to move into a balance here. So we've done some twists. We've done some opening in that back leg. From here, ideally you want the fingertips pressing into the ground. If not, I highly suggest having like a cushion, or if you have blocks. I don't know how advanced you are in your yoga practice, or far along you are in your yoga practice, but if you have a block, even better. And then you're gonna lift the left arm up towards the sky, right? So we're moving towards a twist. It's a pretty deep twist, like a triangle pose, but twisting. So I'll say it again, just in case I confused you by bringing in those blocks. So your right hand is along the inside of that left foot on the ground. The left arm is lifting up towards the sky. As much as you can. Maybe it's just out to the side, wherever. Gaze looks up towards that left hand if you can, or keep it down towards the right hand. Lower the left hand down. Heel toe, or top that right foot back a little more, coming back down towards a lunge. And then drop the back knee. You're going to lift up, find a low lunge with a lift in the torso. This is nice with the knee down. It really opens up that right thigh, the right hip. If you want a little more of a challenge, maybe lengthen that right leg, but we did a lot of work with this left leg bent, so you may not want to do that right now. And then lower the hands down. Lift that back knee and step it forward. Inhale, hands to shins, lift and lengthen spine forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Core lifted. Sits bones, tailbone dropping down. Gentle bend in the knees. Left foot steps back. So not a really wide stance, not like you're going for warrior 1 just yet. And then your arms can come out and bring the other elbow on top. That makes sense. We used to do it one way, try it a different way. And then your hip should be facing towards the top of your mat. So you're not open towards the side of the mat, towards the top of the mat. Tuck your tail, lift your pelvic bone up, and then lengthen through the spine. Inhale. And as you exhale, come forward to a flat back. So you're rooting that right big toe into the earth, looking at the right big toe, and we're opening up the back of the leg, right? Really opening up the back of the right leg so we can move into a little bit of a deeper posture. Two more breaths here. Really extend your hips, or I should say your sits bones back. So extend your butt back, right? Really reach it back, back, back. And lengthen the crown of the head forward. So you have a long spine. And then lift the torso. Bring your hands out to the side of the T. Bend into that right knee and slide forward, maybe finding that balance with that left leg up like an airplane, or maybe stretch the arms forward, or maybe bring the hands to the hip. What you want to be aiming for here, more than that leg up, is your hips facing down towards the ground. You don't want that left hip up and open, right? So both hips facing towards the earth. Breathe here. Deep, deep breaths. Breathe again. Imagining that full body lung, right? Going all the way into the bottom of the heel, all the way into the top of the head, all the way up to the fingertips. And then bring the hands to the hips and lower that leg back. A little bit wider stance. Bend into that right leg. Your hips still face towards the top of your mat. So your foot is at a 45-degree angle. It's not turned all the way out. That would turn your hips out. Whew. And then lengthen that leg. Let's lift the arms up, engage your core. Bend back into that right knee. So warrior one here. Your right knee should be right over that right ankle. Soften the shoulders, lengthen through the crown of the head. Lift the core up. That'll tuck the pelvic bone forward. Now that'll lengthen that left hip, that left thigh. Root that left heel into the earth. You might even feel a bit of a stretch in the calf, maybe. And then we're going to lengthen that front leg and fold forward, hands down to the ground, or maybe to your blocks or your cushion. Your left hand is either tips of fingers, or you can even root the hand down if that's comfortable for you. Just notice where your reach is. And then feel your hips. Before we go into the full expression of the pose, feel your right hip lifting back and up as your left hip lowers down and forward, right? So you feel your hips parallel to the top of your mat, really, or even to the floor, right? That's really what you're aiming for. That's the most important thing. And then your left hand's going to root down into the ground, whether it's tips of fingers, heel of hand, or into the block. And then the right hand is going to rise up towards the sky. Look up towards the hand if you can. If that's not comfortable, look down. And then work towards lengthening that right leg as much as possible. It may be slightly bent, and that's totally fine. Maybe very bent, that's totally fine. Most important is that you're breathing. Right? Let's soften that right shoulder away from the ear. And breathe. 2 more breaths here. This is not an easy posture, so take your time. Don't worry if you fall or if you get frustrated. It's just part of life, right? The practice of yoga is to adjust to it, to accept it, to move with it. Lower that right hand. And then you're going to bend into that knee, hop that foot back, that left foot back, and lower the knee down. So you can give yourself a little break on this right side. And then you're going to lift your hands. Lift your heart, lift your pelvic bone up, deepen a little bit further into the posture, soften the shoulders away, lift your heart, lift your crown of your head up. Soften the shoulders, lengthen the back of the neck, maybe lift the back knee if you want, yogi's choice. That might be a little intense at this point. And then when you're ready, lower the hands, lift that back knee, and step it forward. Inhale, hands to shins, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Just a gentle bend in those knees, arms sweep out to the side and up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. I'm going to just take a second to breathe, drink some water. Shake out if you need to, whatever feels good. My husband is wobbling around with his tired thighs. We're not quite done yet. So come back to the top of your mat. Tuck your tailbone, lift your core. Find mountain pose. So soften the shoulders down. Imagine those beautiful mountains by you, the Sierra Nevadas, or for us, the Berkshires. Open the heart. Let the shoulders lengthen down. So you want to imagine that you are a mountain, right? So your base is rooting down, you're strong, you're firm, you're grounded. Open up those toes like we did at the beginning of the practice, right? And then you've got a really open, soft upper body. So it's accepting of the elements, right? Whatever comes your way, you can take it. And then breathe. Imagine that full body lung. So your breath is extending downward into your heels, into the base of your mountain. Find that 3-part breath. So the Dirga breath that we've practiced the last couple of times. So you're breathing into your belly, then the ribs and lungs, then the chest, and you're releasing from the chest, then the ribs and lungs, and then the belly. A little bit different than what we're used to doing on a regular basis. And just notice what it's like to slow down, right? To take a break, to just be in the body, be in the breath of the body, be in your mountain. Inhale, open the eyes if they were closed, lift the arms, lift the gaze. You move through Surya Namaskar A. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, hands to shins, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold, bend your knees, rest your ribs on the thighs. If you are advanced and want to move quickly through your whole Surya Namaskar, go for it. If you want to take your time, step that right foot back, step that left foot back. Inhale. Exhale, you're going to lower your knees, your chest, and your chin. So the butt is sticking up towards the sky. And then release the toes, shift the chest forward, lift the heart. So just be subtle or gentle here, right? Because this isn't that bend for us. Squeeze your elbows and lift your heart. Lengthen the spine. And then lower back to the earth. Tuck the toes. Find your way through a tabletop. And then lift your hips. Lift your knees. Downward dog. So the backs of your legs should be feeling pretty good right now. If they're not, walk your dog. And maybe do that anyways, even if you are feeling good. One heel lifts as the other heel drops, right? Back and forth like you're pedaling a bike. And then start to walk, literally walk your feet forward towards the top of your mat. Inhale, hands to shins, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands to prayer. Right, one more time. Inhale, sweep the arms up, gaze lifts. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, fold, bend your knees, plant your hands. You can jump back if you want, or you can step left foot, right foot. Inhale into your plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Untuck the toes, release the hips. Inhale into an upward dog or into that back bend, squeezing your elbows towards your body. Exhale, release to the earth, tuck the toes, find your way through a table to a downward dog. And we take 5 deep breaths here in downward dog. Root your fingers into the earth. If you do not like downward dog, it's too challenging for you, it just doesn't feel good, find your baby, not baby pose. What's this called? Child pose. Sometimes I feel like my child is a baby. Wherever you're at, 1 or 2 more breaths. Then bend your knees and you can hop, float, step, tiptoe your feet to your hands. Inhale, hands to shins, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side, slight bend in the knees, lift all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to prayer. Nice job. All right, so we're gonna move a little bit deeper here into the practice that we've been moving towards. You're going to bend your knees, step your right foot back, kind of like what we've already done, right? And this. Lengthen that front leg. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, fold hands down to the ground or to your blocks or to your cushion. And you can have that knee bent if you need to, okay? I want you to be able to touch the floor this time or your blocks, whatever you've got. If you're hanging here, bend the knees so you can bring your knee so you can bring your hands to the ground. From here, we're going to shift forward like we did towards warrior 3, right? Except your hands are on the ground. So knee can be bent a little bit, and then walk your hands forward and lift your back leg. That left knee is as bent as it needs to be. That knee can bring some strength in your balance, okay? So if you need it bent, use it. If you can lengthen it, great, but don't lock it. Whatever you do, don't lock the knee. From here, left hand is going to be planted into the earth. You're going to stack that right hip up on top of the left as you bring your right hand to your right hip. Maybe. If that's not enough, then keep your hand down, okay? This is a great posture right here. Great practice for balance. Maybe you would lift your hands off the ground, playing with the balance. Or if you're here, maybe the right hand lifts up towards the sky. Maybe the gaze looks up towards the right hand. This is half moon pose. Lots of choices here, okay? Maybe even lift your left hand, depending on where you guys are in your practice. Really extend that leg, that right leg, up, 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 up. Wherever you're at, lift it up, up, up towards the sky. And then lower the right hand, bend into that left leg and lower the right foot. Maybe kind of bend your knees, just look at me, I don't want to describe this. Kind of like bouncing in your knees, right? To let your hips relax. Ooh, and then heel toe your feet so they are hip width apart. Bring your hands to opposite elbows and then just let yourself hang out. Let your head and neck go. Maybe nod the head yes. Don't worry about what you just did, how that side went. Don't worry about it. It is what it is. Just accept it. We'll move on. Find the joy of just being upside down. Really let your head go, right? That's the hardest part in a posture like this, is just letting the neck go, letting the head go. And release your arms. You can keep your feet as they are, gentle bend in the knees, sweep the arms out to the side, up to stand. Exhale, hands to prayer. Let me go to the other top of my mat so that you're not seeing my back. You're gonna bend those knees. I'm gonna turn myself around, stepping the left foot back. Okay, just not a full warrior 1, right? Just a smaller step back. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Whew. So hips should be parallel to the floor right now, right? Rooting your right foot into the earth. Bend a bit into that right knee as much as you need to, right? You might be really bent and that's okay. Just want your hands on the earth. And then we're gonna start to walk the hands forward, shift the weight into that right leg and lift the left leg up. So again, yogi's choice, right? You can stay right here and just work on lifting that left leg as high as you can. Right? You can keep it, just play with it, lifting up and down. You can extend one arm forward, out, whatever. If you're moving into the half moon, right hand roots, the fingers root into the earth, and then you're going to stack that left hip on top of the right. Bring that left hand to the right hip. Engage your core, right? All this balance comes from your belly. Flex that left foot. Extend the heel back and up. And then start to stack your left shoulder on top of the right if that's an option. Maybe the left hand up to the sky. Maybe the gaze up towards that left hand. Maybe you're staying down in that forward fold. Wherever you're at, breathe. Don't worry about where you're at. As long as you feel okay. If you're uncomfortable, maybe just make your way into child's pose, right? Whatever feels okay. 2 more breaths. Maybe if you're balancing, play with lifting the right hand off the earth. We're finding that half moon pose, full expression. And then lower the left hand. And lower the left foot next to the right. You can again just kind of bend both knees back and forth, letting your hips go. Ooh, and then just keep moving a little and roll up. I can't see you all, but I'm going to say good job, because that is not an easy posture to practice. Let's open the legs out. One time, okay. So your legs are out wide. Open the arms out to the side. And then you're going to turn your palms up. Just notice if you feel an opening or a stretch in the arms. Then turn your feet slightly out. Lift your arms up, bend your elbows, and then bend your knees. This is goddess pose. So we're going to do a form of Kapalabhati breathing here, or we're going to do Kapalabhati breathing, which is a type of breath work. It's a really nice way to exterminate or eliminate all of that junk that's in the body. So it's a inhale, fast exhale, but you're really pushing out on the exhale more than pulling in on the inhale. So it sounds like this. And you're using your belly, right? You really want to feel your belly on the exhale. Okay, so take an inhale, and then we'll start. It's in and out through the nose. It's a really good test if we have the coronavirus. If you can't sustain it, take an inhale and an exhale. One more breath, everybody join in. Inhale and exhale. And then lengthen those legs, bring your hands to your hips, heel toe your feet together or step to the top of your mat and shake out your legs. And then we're going to lift the arms, lift the hands. Exhale, fold forward. Ooh. Inhale, hands to shins and lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold, bend your knees, walk your way back towards plank pose. Drop your knees, and then you're going to bring your heart, your chest, all the way to the floor, all the way down to the ground. Okay, so we're going to do a back bend here, so a couple back bends. So your hands are beneath. Actually, let's bring the hands down by the side of the body, right? Palms face down. Turn your head so your chin or your forehead is down on the earth. And then start to extend the crown of the head forward so your head lifts off the ground. Then start to lift your heart, your chest, and then maybe lift the hands off the ground, a gentle back bend. So you're like an airplane, right? Since we can't travel, let's do it right here on our mat. Fly. Breathe here. And then exhale gently, release the hands, look to the right, let your head down on the ground and bend your knees and just let your legs flop side to side. Nice. And then turn your chin or your forehead back to the earth. Keep those palms facing down. And then we're going to do the same stretch. You're going to engage your core, lift through the crown of the head, lift the chest, lift the hands. But this time, maybe lift your feet. So you're really into a full deep back bend from your toes to the crown of the head. One more breath. And then gently release, look to the left. Maybe bend those knees, windshield wiper the feet side to side. And then let your feet come to the earth. So we're going to do it one more time. You can do either of the options I just gave you, or if you're a little more flexible or want to deepen into the stretch a bit more, bend your legs and bring your hands to the backs of your feet. If that is not an option, then don't do it.
Don't worry about it. Come to what we did before. From here, you're gonna press your feet into your hands and then lift your heart, lift your chest, lengthen through the back of the head, back of the neck, lift those knees up as high as you can. You might even find a little rock here. Maybe not. Breathe into your belly. You'll feel a rock with your breath, right? And then gently lower, release down to the ground. Turn your head to the right, and then bend those knees and rock side to side. Just subtle breaths into the lower back. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And gently rise up through tabletop. Open your knees really wide. Bring your feet together. Shift your hips back to your heels. Child's pose. Forehead to the earth. Deep breath. Your knees are open wide, so there's lots of space for your torso to come down towards the ground. And rise up through table. So we're back to tabletop here. You're going to bring your right hand up towards the sky. Then we're going to weave the right arm through, come down on the right shoulder. So I'm going to turn this way. The right shoulder down, head down on the earth, the right ear on the earth. And then walk your left hand in front of you on your mat or on the floor. Come to the tips of the fingers, root the tips of the fingers into the earth to press open that left shoulder on top of the right. It's a really nice twist and opening for the shoulders. Your head should be relaxed. Two more breaths here. One last option is to lift that left arm up towards the sky and then drape it down the lower back, reaching for the inner right thigh, maybe someday. It's a nice opening for that left shoulder as well. And then unwind wherever you're at, left hand in front of the nose. Lift your way up, extend that right arm up. And then lower the hands next to the left on the ground. We'll go right to the other side, left arm lifts. And as you exhale, you're going to weave the arm through, lower that left ear to the floor, and then walk your right hand in front of you on the mat or on the floor, tips of fingers in the earth. Root the tips of the fingers down to stack the right shoulder up on top of the left. Breathe here. Deepen the breath into your lower back. Imagine your breath can almost be like a hand, right? So it's massaging all of that tightness in the spine, opening up as you twist and deepen the twist of the spine. Your hand is just massaging it into a softer, more simple feeling or softer release of that tightness in the spine. Hand, maybe right hand up towards the sky and drape it down behind the back into the inner left thigh as an option. And then gently release, right hand down to the ground. Find your way back up to table. And then you can just sit down. Bring your, bring your hips to the center of your mat. You're gonna come up into boat pose. Extend the leg, extend the spine, and stretch the arms forward. Arms are extending as much as your legs are extending. You're going to lift that right arm up and over the legs and twist over to the left with the hands. And then over to the right side. Knees can be as bent as you need to. Twist to the other left side. And then over to the right. And then bring your hands underneath your knees and rock onto your back. Pull your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice squeeze. Flex your feet, hands to the outer edges of the feet. Happy baby pose. So you're maybe rocking a little bit here, moving side to side, opening up those hips one last time. And before we settle into our Shavasana, let's do one last core strengthener. So you're going to lengthen those legs out in that split or straddle and stretch your arms behind you. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, lift your torso, reach forward like you're reaching through your legs. Inhale, lower back to the earth. Exhale, lift and reach. Inhale, back to the earth. Exhale, lift and reach. Inhale, back to the earth. Exhale, lift and reach. Inhale, back to the earth. And then bend those knees. Bring the knees back together. Pull your knees into the heart, into the chest. Give yourself a nice final squeeze. And then we'll come into our Shavasana. If there's any last posture calling your name, feel free to find it. You don't have to end right here. Not that Shavasana is an end. We're not quite there yet. But you are going to let your legs come down when you're ready for Shavasana. You're going to tuck your shoulders underneath. Let your legs just splay open. Let your palms face up towards the sky. And then close your eyes. And then I'm just going to come a little closer so you guys can hear my voice. Just breathe, right? So allow your breath to be long and full. Imagine as if your brain, which is always the front of or the forehead, right at the top of the head, front of the head, let it just settle back, right? Let the brain just settle into the back of the skull. Imagine as if you can literally sink into the ground. Your body can just become one with the earth. And just notice how that feels. It's really letting go. Listen to your breath. Feel the breath as your belly rises and falls. Relax your jaw and your tongue. Just notice where your mind is, and if it's wandering, just bring it back to the breath. Giving yourself just a few more moments, a few more minutes to just be here. Letting go of all your worries, all of the challenges ahead of you for the day. Just living in the moment, being here in your body.
And as you're ready, if you're ready, you can begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers to reawaken the body. Stretch the arms overhead and stretch fingertips and toes, lengthen the whole body. Maybe a nice sigh releases out, or a long yawn comes in and out. Stretch that whole body, reach and lengthen. And then find your way over to a fetal position, right or left side, doesn't matter. Whichever feels most supportive, using your arm as a pillow. And just feel your knees close. Feel what it's like to have your body close. Feel the warmth of the body. Feel the comfort of your own body. And trust that you can come back to this at any time. When you're ready to, you can find your way up to a seated position if that feels right to you. Bring the hands to Anjali Mudra. Bring the thumbs to that heart center, lengthening through the spine, feeling the opening in the heart, the chest, the lungs. And maybe reconnect with that image of the full body lung, right? So you're breathing all the way to the base of the body. Feeling energy, your breath extending all the way into your fingertips, your toes, to energize your body through your day, for your day, and through your day. Feeling a sense of gratitude for your practice, for each other's presence here in this virtual space, for your patience with yourself, with the environment, with the changes that we're moving through together with this COVID-19. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining. Have a wonderful day. See you next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.